East Asia hides ruins that were never meant to be revisited. Abandoned islands, psychiatric wards, and cursed hospitals lie in silence. But silence here is never empty. These places pulse with what was left behind: suffering, fear, and voices that never found rest. Explorers seeking thrill step inside, but return changed, haunted by memories they cannot explain. What lingers inside these walls isn't history. It is hunger, waiting patiently for the next intruder to arrive. Rusting gates creak open, revealing corridors lined with shadows that seem to move when unobserved. Floors groan under invisible weight, and the air tastes of metal and rot. These places aren't dead, they breathe with every step you take. Those who dare to enter often report the same thing: the feeling of being watched by countless unseen eyes. You tell yourself it's only nerves, until something answers back in the silence you thought was yours. Legends say certain locations consume those who wander too far inside. Some people vanish without explanation, swallowed by stairwells or tunnels that no longer exist when rescuers search. Others escape, but speak of whispers echoing in their dreams, or shadows following them home. These aren't places you visit and leave behind. They follow, patiently reminding you that you trespassed where agony has been preserved, and suffering has been allowed to rot, but never die. What makes these sights truly terrifying is not what you see, but what you feel pressing down on your chest, making it harder to breathe. It is the sound of water dripping where no pipes exist. It is the sudden stench of burning flesh inside a place long abandoned. It is the cold sensation of fingers brushing your skin when you are absolutely certain you are standing alone. This is why locals avoid them completely. Travelers arrive chasing ghost stories, cameras in hand, ignoring warnings. But once they cross the threshold, laughter fades, batteries drain, and doors slam shut. Footage later shows panic, screams, or worse faces in the background that never belonged to the group. These recordings always end abruptly, leaving only questions and the certainty that something inside refused to let them leave. Tonight, you will descend into 3 of the most nightmarish locations in East Asia, places whispered about in warnings, yet visited by those too curious to listen. Their stories are not legends crafted to entertain, but scars carved into concrete and bone. If you think you're ready, join us. And if you dare, subscribe to this channel and comment where you are watching from. But remember, some places continue watching you long after the video ends. Off the coast of Nagasaki, a jagged silhouette rises from the sea: Hashima Island, also called Gonjiam, the battleship island. Once thriving with miners and families, today it is nothing but skeletal ruins. Concrete apartments crumble under salt wind, windows gape like hollow eyes, and rusted steel veins twist through collapsing corridors. Tourists arrive by boat, but the silence that greets them feels unnatural, heavy, as if the island itself resents their intrusion and presence. Hashima's past is drenched in misery. Miners once labored in suffocating tunnels beneath the sea, facing collapse and drowning. During the war, forced laborers from Korea and China were brought here, many dying and buried hastily or lost to the waves. Locals whisper their souls remain, trapped in concrete, chained to the depths, feeding the heavy weight that crushes every visitor who dares to step on the island. Walking the ruins feels like entering a tomb. Towers lean dangerously, staircases end in nothing, and the air reeks of rust and seawater. Cameras fail, batteries draining unnaturally fast. Visitors hear faint clinking, like tools striking rock, echoing from the flooded mines sealed for decades. The sound persists, impossible to explain, as if the dead miners still labor in darkness, demanding their presence be remembered. Explorers describe shadows that flicker between the buildings, always just out of reach. Some swear they see men in ragged uniforms, faces hollow and eyes blank, disappearing when approached. Others capture blurred figures in photographs, standing in broken windows or perched atop crumbling walls. The island does not simply hold memories, it projects them, forcing those who dare to wander its ruins to witness fragments of suffering carved into its stone, refusing to fade or rest. One visitor recalled climbing a stairwell that twisted higher than it should have. The air grew colder, though the sun blazed outside. At the top, he found a door that should not exist, chained shut with rusted locks. As he reached for it, the metal rattled violently, as though something on the other side clawed to be released. He fled, but in every photo he took afterward, the same door appeared in the background, waiting. Fishermen passing the island tell of nights when lights flicker inside the abandoned apartments. No electricity runs through Gonjiam, yet pale glows shimmer in the windows like lanterns carried through endless corridors. Some claim they hear screams carried across the waves, mixed with the crashing surf. Others swear the ocean around the island churns violently without wind, as though the water itself is restless, echoing the agony of those who worked and died beneath it. Urban explorers have filmed here, their videos gathering millions of views. Many appear excited at first, mocking the warnings of locals, but as they progress deeper into the ruins, their voices lower, jokes vanish, and dread becomes palpable. In one clip, a man laughs nervously before freezing, eyes widening at something unseen. His camera jerks violently before cutting to black. When recovered, his group claimed he had vanished into the stairwell they had just climbed. Not all vanish. Some return, but they return altered. Survivors speak of dreams filled with dripping tunnels, their lungs burning with imagined seawater. Others claim to hear banging in their homes at night, like pickaxes, striking stone. A few describe faceless figures standing at the foot of their bed, silent and motionless, watching. These visitors swear they never told anyone what they experienced, yet somehow the island follows, reminding them trespass carries a lasting debt. The most unsettling accounts come from those who claim the island itself is alive. They describe a sensation of being swallowed, of the walls bending slightly inward as if breathing. Doors seem to shift behind explorers, staircases loop in impossible patterns, and corridors stretch longer the further one walks. Some insist Gonjiam does not simply exist in one place. It twists and bends, pulling trespassers deeper into itself, until leaving becomes less a choice and more impossible. One researcher who studied abandoned structures in Japan kept returning to Gonjiam. After his third visit, his notes became incoherent, filled with drawings of eyes carved into walls and diagrams of tunnels spiraling endlessly downward. His final entry read, "It isn't an island, it's a mouth. Every scream echoes because it's swallowing, still hungry, still unfinished." He vanished soon after, his body never found, though his camera was recovered, its final shot of concrete collapsing inward. Even the ocean seems complicit. Divers who attempt to explore the flooded mines report being pulled by unseen currents, their equipment failing without reason. Several describe silhouettes drifting in the water, faces distorted by waves, watching silently from the darkness. Some divers never resurface. Locals say the sea refuses to release them, just as the island refuses to forget. The boundary between land and water blurs here, both holding the same unyielding appetite for the living. Tour companies occasionally offer trips to view the island from a safe distance, docking briefly for photographs. Guides warn tourists not to wander too far into the ruins, but some ignore the warnings, slipping away for adventure. A handful never return in time for departure. Search teams rarely find evidence, only belongings scattered among broken walls. The assumption is that collapsing structures claimed them, but locals insist the island has always preferred more deliberate offerings. To step on Hashima Island is to step into a memory that refuses to fade. The walls are not merely ruins, they are scars, holding every scream, every desperate gasp for air, every cry for freedom. The dead never left, and they resent being disturbed. Their whispers ride the wind, their shadows crawl along concrete. They do not ask for help. They ask for silence, and when silence is denied, they demand something far more terrifying. Hashima Island is not simply haunted, it is hostile. It does not want to be remembered, yet it cannot be forgotten. Those who leave speak of the sound of waves in their ears, long after they return home, as though the sea is still calling them back. Others hear chains rattling in their sleep, and some, most terrifyingly, never hear anything again. The island does not release everyone. Some voices become part of its hunger forever. Hidden deep in the woods of Gwangju lies a ruin feared even by locals. Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital, officially closed in the 1990s. The reasons given were vague: contamination, poor sanitation, whispers of something worse. Its rooms still hold rusted beds, broken restraints, and medical files scattered across the floor. The air inside is thick, sour with mold, but beneath the rot lingers something else, something metallic, sharp, like the taste of blood that never washed away. Legends claim patients died without reason, entire wings silenced overnight. Rumors speak of experiments hidden as treatments, of staff who vanished, leaving frantic notes. It's still here. Trespassers tell of doors slamming without wind, drips echoing from ceilings long dry, and whispers too faint to grasp yet sharp enough to gnaw at fragile nerves. Gonjiam is never silent. It creaks, breathes, and waits, feeding on the dread of those who cross its halls. Explorers describe a crushing heaviness, unseen eyes tracking every move. Flashlights reveal peeling paint warped into screaming faces. Some hear cries calling their names, though companions hear nothing. Pale figures dart across corridors, vanishing when chased. Gonjiam thrives on isolation, twisting halls, dividing groups, and feeding panic. Even the boldest intruders break, realizing too late they are no longer alone but trapped inside something that refuses to let them leave. The morgue is the most feared room. Rusted tables remain, stains etched so deeply they will never fade. One visitor claimed he felt a cold hand grip his wrist as he leaned closer to photograph. Another swore he saw a shape rise from a drawer, its body shrouded in a sheet, head lolling unnaturally as it stepped onto the floor. When he blinked it was gone, but the sheet lay crumpled, wet with something warm. An infamous case tells of students who live-streamed their exploration. At first they laughed, mocking warnings, but soon their voices faltered. Whispers drowned their words, rising until screams erupted. The stream cut to black. When found online later, viewers noticed faces at the windows, gaunt, eyeless, watching from the dark. None of the students returned. Police claimed they fled, yet the hospital's silence speaks louder, holding their absence like a secret it refuses to release. The stairwell often traps intruders. People climb endlessly upward, counting floors, only to return to the same landing again. Others descend into the basement, but emerge somehow on the roof. Gonjiam bends itself, confusing the living, ensnaring them in endless loops. Explorers stumble out hours later, convinced they were trapped for days. Some never emerge, their flashlights seen flickering faintly through cracked windows, long after search parties abandoned hope of ever finding them alive. One security guard claimed he patrolled the grounds at night. Through a shattered window, he saw rows of patients sitting on the floor, motionless, their heads tilted in unison. When he shone his light, the room was empty, but his watch had jumped forward by 30 minutes. Terrified, he resigned the next morning, refusing to ever set foot near the building again. He insisted the hospital was not abandoned. It was still occupied, just differently. Local children dare each other to touch the rusted front gates at midnight. Some return laughing, but others wake screaming for weeks, insisting someone followed them home. Parents report shadows moving through hallways, doors rattling, and their children whispering conversations with voices no one else hears. Even brief contact with Gonjiam seems to leave an imprint, like an infection of despair spreading quietly, waiting until fear festers deep enough to take permanent residence inside. A journalist tried to debunk the legends, spending a night with recording gear. His cameras caught only static, but the audio revealed chilling screams, waves of overlapping voices crying as one. At dawn, he was found barefoot in the forest, eyes wide, muttering incoherently. Pressed for answers, he repeated only, "The doors never close." His career ended soon after, and his tapes remain locked away, too disturbing for the public to ever hear. Some explorers report seeing the figure of a doctor walking the halls, clipboard in hand, face blurred as though reality refuses to capture him. He vanishes when approached, but his presence leaves behind the reek of antiseptic and smoke. Legends say he conducted inhumane experiments, searching for ways to silence madness by cutting into brains. Whether true or rumor, visitors who encounter him report violent headaches, as if something sharp still lingers inside their skulls. The hospital seems to breathe. At night, walls groan, like lungs expanding, corridors vibrate faintly, and ceilings drip moisture like sweat. Explorers grow nauseous, disoriented, as though the structure itself grinds down sanity. Some swear they hear faint laughter, not human but rising from the walls. Gonjiam does not just contain haunting. Sid is the haunting, a predator of concrete and shadow, luring trespassers deeper into its rotting, endless throat from which few ever escape. One woman described finding a room where all the clocks were stopped at the same time, 3:33. She fled, but later discovered every clock in her home malfunctioned, freezing at that same moment. Others describe scratches appearing on their skin, marks resembling restraints, though they never touched anything. Survivors often leave with souvenirs, not of objects, but of wounds, visions, and nightmares. Gonjiam ensures no visitor leaves empty-handed, always sends a reminder home. Abandoned psychiatric hospitals are not rare, but Gonjiam is different. Its name spreads like a curse, drawing the curious despite every warning. People arrive skeptical and leave trembling, some refusing to speak about what they saw. Others never leave at all. The walls echo endlessly, not only with the pain of patients once confined, but with the hunger of something older, something that thrives in madness, feeding on the fear it carefully cultivates in trespassers. Today, the building still stands, rotting deeper into the forest, yet somehow untouched by time. Trees twist away from its walls, as if even nature rejects it. Locals whisper that each year it grows louder, hungrier, desperate for visitors. Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital is not a ruin, it is a wound that refuses to close. And if you step inside, the wound accepts you. Whether you leave or not, part of you will always remain. In northern Taiwan, hidden behind rusting gates, stands an abandoned hospital that locals call cursed. Officially shut down decades ago, its records vanished, and its name erased from maps. Yet the building remains, its silhouette black against the sky, windows shattered like jagged teeth. Travelers who dare approach describe an unnatural silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but of listening walls holding their breath, waiting. Locals warn, step inside, and you will not walk out unchanged. The hospital's reputation spread in whispers. In its final years, patients vanished overnight. Families handed sealed coffins they could never open. Rumors told of experiments disguised as treatments, doctors working after midnight with masks stained dark. When the hospital closed, staff fled without belongings. Beds, charts, and bloodied instruments remained scattered, frozen mid-procedure, as if time itself abandoned the place, leaving only silence heavy with secrets. Visitors who cross the threshold often describe the same thing, the overwhelming stench of iron, thick and suffocating. Some gag, convinced blood still stains the walls, though no red is visible. Others hear gurneys squeaking along the halls, wheels spinning on cracked tiles, though nothing appears. More unsettling are the voices, faint murmurs calling names, sometimes in multiple languages, always in the same strained whisper. Whoever speaks does not want to be heard, they want to be obeyed. Explorers claim the building warps once you enter. Hallways stretch impossibly long, lined with doors that lead nowhere. Windows look outside to courtyards that shouldn't exist, each different from the last. One group tried to map the hospital, but found their drawings shifting, as if the building itself rejected being recorded. The deeper they went, the louder the sounds became: drips, screams, metallic clashing. When they fled, their map was blank, nothing but endless spirals. A live stream once showed 3 friends exploring the hospital at night. At first they laughed, mocking the legends, but panic came in the operating rooms. Cameras caught doors slamming, equipment shaking violently, and faces appearing in surgical lamps. The feed cut with screams. Hours later, police found their gear near the entrance, but never the students. Their families still wait, while locals insist the hospital had already claimed them. The operating rooms remain the most feared. Rusted tables stand ready, restraints buckled tightly, though unused for decades. Visitors describe sudden pressure holding them down, as if invisible hands pinned their wrists. One explorer swore he saw a figure in a stained surgical gown leaning over him, its mask dripping, its eyes replaced with black holes. He escaped, but days later, his chest bore fresh incision marks. Doctors found no cause. He never slept again. Some believe the hospital is a trap for souls. Monks who attempted to bless the grounds reported chants, echoing back, distorted, twisted into mocking laughter. Their offerings were found burned to ash by morning. Locals say the land itself was cursed long before the hospital was built. The structure only gave it walls and corridors, turning hunger into permanence. Even animals avoid the area. Dogs refuse to approach, their fur bristling, howling until dragged away violently. Explorers who leave often find they never truly escaped. They wake to the smell of disinfectant, the sound of beeping monitors, though no machines are present. Some report hearing whispers outside their bedrooms. Others catch glimpses of hospital corridors reflected in mirrors. A few claim they see the figure of a surgeon watching from dark corners, scalpel glinting faintly. Survivors speak of sleepless nights, of dreams so vivid they bleed into reality, slowly consuming sanity. One survivor described a nightmare where he was strapped to a gurney, unable to move, lights blazing overhead. Figures in gowns surrounded him, their masks dripping dark liquid. He awoke screaming, but his arms bore bruises shaped like restraints. Days later, he vanished from his apartment without a trace. Neighbors swore they heard gurney wheels in the hallway that night. His family insists he never left the hospital. Perhaps his body finally returned to it. Locals tell of blackouts whenever storms pass overhead. The hospital glows faintly during these nights, windows flashing like lightning from within. Those brave enough to watch say they see silhouettes writhing against the glass, as if surgeries never stopped. The cries carry across the hills, too distant to be mistaken for thunder. Authorities refuse to investigate, insisting the site is unstable. But villagers whisper, it isn't the structure collapsing, it's the screams trying to escape. The basement holds the darkest reputation. Accessed by a narrow stairwell, its air is ice cold, even in summer. Graffiti from past trespassers covers the walls. Yet beneath the spray paint are carvings, thousands of names etched deep into the concrete. No one knows who made them. Some names match missing persons reported years after the hospital closed. Explorers claim the carvings shift overnight, new names appearing, as if the building already knows its next victims. The hospital resists destruction. Developers tried to demolish it, but machines failed. Workers were mysteriously injured, and equipment vanished. Contractors soon abandoned the project. One crane operator swore he saw pale faces pressed against the windows, all staring directly at him, and quit at once. The structure remains untouched, its walls rotting yet unbroken, as if something inside clings to this world, refusing to release its grip on the living. Those who study cursed sites claim the hospital feeds on fear itself. It lures intruders with curiosity, then consumes them with dread. The building is not just haunted, it is predatory, reshaping itself to trap the living. No two visitors experience it the same way, Yet all leave carrying something they did not bring. Some call it paranoia, others possession. But survivors agree on one truth: the hospital is never finished with those who enter. The cursed hospital of Taiwan still stands, abandoned but never empty. Its walls echo with screams, its halls shift with hunger, and its windows watch with hollow eyes. Travelers ignore warnings, drawn by curiosity or arrogance, but few leave untouched. Those who escape carry the hospital with them, haunted forever by its shadow. And for those who vanish, their names are etched deeper into the concrete. The building waits, endlessly patient, for the next visitor. East Asia holds landscapes where history bleeds into nightmare, where abandoned walls do not rest quietly. These places remain scars etched into earth and stone, drawing the curious and punishing the reckless. Whether island, asylum, or hospital, each location shares the same truth: they are not empty. They are full, brimming with memories too heavy to fade. And every step taken within them is one closer to becoming another whisper, trapped inside their suffocating silence. The explorers who dared to trespass left warnings in their absence, in their trembling voices, in footage that abruptly ends. Locals still avoid these sites, passing stories like curses through generations, urging outsiders to stay away. But curiosity feeds the hunger of such places, keeping them alive, keeping them waiting. To enter is to gamble with sanity, and even survival. The ruins remain not as history, but as predators, patient and tireless in their hunger. You have now glimpsed 3 of East Asia's most nightmarish locations. But remember, many more lie hidden, sealed, and waiting. Curiosity may draw you toward them, yet escape is never guaranteed. If you crave more journeys into darkness, subscribe to Echoes of the East and join us again. Tell us where you are watching from, if you dare, and never forget, some places do not release their visitors. They keep watching, long after you leave.